Hey, welcome to the Nursing Dose with your host, Farah, aka Dr. Laurent. Today, I want to talk to you about this exciting new course that I just developed by myself, right? A digital course, basically, that is designed specifically for all my new nurses out there. Even if you're a nursing student in your senior year, this course is for you. It's a digital course, like I said, and it's entitled New Nurse to Dream Role. And why did I create this? Because so many nurses over the last 4 years have been asking me to create something digitally that they can follow. So for those nurses who can't necessarily to afford working with me one-on-one, because I do have a coaching program where I work one-on-one with my clients and I take them basically from new nurse to dream role, basically landing their dream role, typically in less than 90 days, right? So this is why I decided to launch this course, and it's going to be available pretty much next week. But if you want early access to this, please DM me right now. Just message me, whether you're on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, DM me, or if it's easier, you can email me at farah.laurent, the number one, at gmail.com. Okay. But if you DM me, the first 10 people who DM me will get a free one-on-one consultation with me. And that's something that I usually charge for, but it will be included in this launch, right? As a special gift to you. So let me know where you're watching from. If you happen to be watching, what city, what country, drop it in the comments. If you have any questions or concerns about, you know, being a new nurse, you have questions about, where should you start, all that type of stuff, drop them in the comments, okay? And how did I design this course? I'm actually glad that I did wait a little bit because, like I said, I've worked with over 100 nurses from all across the United States and Canada. So I talk to nurses literally on a daily basis, and all of the challenges and the frustrations and the challenges, right, I have now put into frameworks and strategies so that you can get hired faster and with confidence. So basically, this course goes through 5 different modules where it takes you from, clarity to the beginning stage, because many new nurses struggle with this. And if you're watching this, you're not alone, right? Nursing school does not teach us how to promote ourselves, and nursing school doesn't teach you specifically how to land your dream role. In fact, most nursing schools, and I'm not saying all of them, but the majority of nursing schools or clinical instructors will try to push you, number one, towards the hospital. Number two, they will try to push you towards a med-surg position. Nothing against med-surg, but not all nurses want to work in the hospital, number one. And not all nurses want to go and work on a med-surg floor. And that was my story. So for those who've been following me, you kind of know I share this all the time. But let's say you're new to following me. My story is, as a nursing student in Canada in my last semester, my clinical instructor said, "Hey, Farah, what type of nurse do you want to be?" And I said, I wanted to be an emergency nurse, right? I was super excited to go into emergency medicine because I used to watch the show called Trauma Life in the ER. And what happened was she told me, she literally laughed at me, said I was too unorganized, and I will never be an emergency nurse, and that I should pursue med-surg. So of course I didn't listen to that. Me and another nurse got to go into the ER as our top pick, only 2 of us out of like 110 students. So I was so grateful for that opportunity because that's where I positioned myself for success. And these are some of the strategies and frameworks that I have in this course, the New Nurse to Dream Role course, which I said will be available next week, but DM me if you want early access, right? I lay out the foundation as a nursing student, if you're still in nursing school, how to position yourself for success, how to start networking as a nursing student so that when you are close to graduation, you can start landing these dream roles, right? And one big tip that I have in this course, and I'll drop these tips throughout this live, is that you should not wait until graduation before you start applying. So many nursing students make this mistake. They wait until they graduate, and you don't have to wait to pass your NCLEX in order to start applying for positions. In fact, I've helped several of my clients land their dream role before graduation. Specifically, one nurse I remember was interested in working at a mental health facility in St. Louis, and she hadn't graduated yet. However, we started working together. I think it was like in May. She was due to graduate. I think it was August or September or something like that. She landed her role, I believe, in June. So like after about a month or so of working together, she landed a role in psychiatry. Right? And when we first started working together, she's like, Fair, do you think I can apply this early? And I'm like, yes. Don't wait until you graduate, because typically it can take anywhere from 3 to 6 months until you actually get hired, right? Because it's a process. You have to wait for residency programs to start opening up. You know, most of the time you want to work on your resume and cover letter and you're trying to perfect it. But we need speed here, right? Timing is important, because this is what I teach all my clients. If a residency program opens up, you want to be in that first batch of applications, right? Because guess who's going to get interviewed first? If you literally apply day one, this is what I always talk about, apply day one, you will have a higher likelihood of moving on to the first round of interviews. It just clearly makes sense, right? So if they only have a couple positions, you will have a better chance in landing that role in the nurse residency program, right? Don't wait till the last minute. In fact, one of my clients out of California, we worked together. We got her resume, cover letter all prepared and stuff, but I think she wanted to tweak a couple of things. And she was working at the time in another job. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to apply to the nurse residency. I'll apply like tomorrow or whatever it was. And I'm like, girl, you need to apply today. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to have time. It's open for like 2 weeks or whatever the case was. Well, she waited. And then she messaged me on LinkedIn. She's like, oh my goodness, Fair. She's like, they closed the nurse residency program within 48 hours because they got overwhelmed with applications. It was supposed to be open for 2 weeks, and it was only open for 48 hours. So that's what I'm talking about. This course that I've developed, New Nurse to Dream Role, will give you all these inside tips, frameworks, and strategies so that you can get hired faster and with confidence, and that you could avoid making all these mistakes so that you can get the role that you want, okay? So like I said, the number one thing that all nursing students and new grads complain about and what they're struggling and frustrated with is that they can't even get to the interview stage, right? Some of you are talking to recruiters on the phone, but for some reason, you can't get to the interview stage. And in this course, I lay out why you're not getting hired and why you're not even getting to the interview stage. I also have a free training. If you are interested in this free video training, please put free training and I will send you the link to the free training. And also, if you DM me, I'll directly send it to you in your inbox. And it's basically a 15-minute video training for free that I will give to you. Okay. And it goes through a couple of strategies of how you can get hired faster. But of course, you want the course. You want the full course. That's just an appetizer. You want the full course meal, right, of how to get hired faster. And this is what I've developed, like I said, and it's going to be released next week. So if you want early access, please message me now. So I'll give you a quick tip on how to get to the interview stage right now. Number one is you have to be confident when you're talking to these recruiters. Many recruiters will get on the phone, and if you're not prepared, you don't sound confident over the phone. Most of the time it's on the phone that they'll call you. And if you don't sound prepared to promote and pitch yourself, they're not going to move you on to the hiring manager interview stage, right? So it's all in the way that you communicate. You have to communicate clearly and with confidence. So one of the first questions that they're going to ask you is, tell me about yourself. Most people struggle with this. Even nurses that have 5-10 years experience still struggle with this tell me about yourself question. All right. And in this course, I literally break down how to do an interview pitch. I'm going to give you a little couple secrets right now. Okay. So the number one thing is everybody sounds the same. Everybody sounds boring. We don't do boring. We don't do generic in this course, right? I'm teaching you how to stand out and how to be different than every other candidate and how to be authentic and real, right? Most people will introduce themselves and say, hi, my name is Farah. I went to school here and I want to be a nurse because I want to help people. Boring. Everybody says the same thing, right? So they already have your name. They have your resume. So you don't need to list out your resume. You don't need to tell them where you went to school. They already see that. They want to hear something different. They want to hear how you connect with people. They want to hear your why story, right? Give them a little something to be excited about because they talk to candidates all the time. So if you sound enthusiastic and you come with a different story, your authentic why story about why you got into nursing, it's going to be a little bit more exciting. And they're going to be like, oh, this person is enthusiastic about the role. They're confident. They can communicate. Let's move them on to the next stage, right? So how does that sound like? It could be something as simple as like, you know what? I actually never wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to be a doctor or I wanted to be a vet, whatever your story is. Or maybe I'm a second career nurse. I was actually one of my clients actually was a graphic designer before. Something happened that led her to change her career. Something happened to one of her family members and she decided to switch over to nursing because she saw the impact that nurses made, right? So if you come from that type of storytelling, it's going to be more memorable, right? You want to be unforgettable. So as you're speaking, you're literally just having a conversation, right? And you're being confident in the way you communicate. And stop second guessing or questioning too much. So what do I mean by that? You know, instead of saying like, oh, if I get passed on to the next round, right? I want you to be more confident and affirming. Like, you know, oh, so tell me about the next steps because I'm really excited to move on to the next stage to interview with the hiring manager. Do you have any tips for me of what specifically they're looking for, right? Be confident in that sense because now the recruiter is going to have confidence in you and be like, okay, I think this candidate is going to be hired. So let me move them on so that we don't waste time, right? And please be specific in what it is that you want. I talk about this all the time. If the recruiter is hiring for a critical care position, then talk about why you want the critical care position. And please be real and transparent. If you don't want to be in critical care, you should not be applying for this position because you're wasting people's time and you're wasting your own time. So this is what I say. If you want L&D, pediatrics, ER, whatever that is, just be real and transparent, right? And apply only for those jobs. Stop wasting your time and the recruiter's time. So that's another mistake that a lot of nursing students do and new grads, because you're applying to multiple positions at one health system. So now you're confusing the recruiter. So let's say you really want to work in the emergency department, but now you're applying for ICU, you're applying for L&D, you're applying for the OR and psychiatry. They're going to be confused. They're going to be like, where do I send this candidate, right? So they're going to be probably thinking, you know what, let's not move this candidate forward because they don't seem to know what they really want. So this is the type of insight, strategies, and frameworks that I include in this course, right? So the first phase is clarity. You need to be clear on what it is that you really want. And some of you may not know, and that's okay. And I actually have a module specifically for those that are not sure what area to go into. And then I drop a couple tips on, which areas you should probably likely go into if you're not sure. Okay. So I'll drop one of those. It's the emergency department. Of course, I used to be a former ER nurse. So the reason I think that the ER is a great place to start, and again, it's not for everybody. However, I break down the criteria, the traits, and if you think you like it, you might lean towards the ED. If you like fast-paced environments, you like meeting different people, you're very extroverted, then the ER might be for you. Why? Because you get to see everything from babies to the elderly population, from acute care type injuries, trauma, to critical care patients where you're actually having to intubate and monitor these critical care patients till they get to the ICU. And then there's minor injuries, right? There's fast track. Typically, most ERs have a fast track, which is a clinic style where maybe, someone needs stitches or they hurt their ankle or something like that. There's also women's health issues that come through the ER. Guess where all the pregnant people come through? The ER. So you do have the ability to assess everybody. And then you get really good assessment skills, really good critical thinking skills, prioritization, organization, so that it's a good foundation for you. And you may love it, right? You also have the opportunity to monitor patients, cardiac, respiratory, all these things come through the ER. So that at least, let's say you really enjoy working with pediatrics, you might be like, you know what? I would love to work with pediatrics in the future. Or you might say, I really love taking care of women's health. Let me go into L&D. And now you have a great foundation as an ER nurse to go anywhere that you want to go. So that would be one big one, right? The other thing that I suggest in this course, and again, I'll go more in detail in the actual course, is telemetry. So it's a good foundation because you're taking care of all sorts of patients and you get that critical care element where you may have to do drips, cardiac drips, do EKGs, start IVs. So skill-wise, you're doing a lot. You're also monitoring patients. So if you happen to want to go to a critical care setting, like the ICU, CCU, or ER, whatever, cardiac, thoracic, whatever, all these higher level critical care positions or cath lab in the future, whatever you want, telemetry is a great start because it makes you a really good nurse and you have that monitoring background so that you can take those skills to the next level if you choose to do so. Or you might love it and you might want to just stay there, right? So these are all tips that I have in this new course, From New Nurse to Dream Role. So like I said, if you are interested, and let me know if you're watching, what city, what country, don't be shy, drop in the comments any questions or concerns that you may have as a nursing student or a new grad. And guess what? Even if you're a nurse, let's say with a year to like 3 to 5 years experience, and let's say you're currently in a role that you don't like, right? Or maybe you're in a position where it's a toxic work environment and you're like, you know what? This is not it. This is not what I imagined. And I want to go somewhere else. I want to do something else. This course is applicable to you as well. It's not just for new graduate nurses. It could be for any nurse, essentially, right? It's just a lot of what I put in there is geared towards new nurses. However, it's all the fundamentals, frameworks, and strategies that you can use at any level of your nursing career to pivot into something else, right? So if you are interested in this course, like I said, the early bird pricing is only $497, and y'all, that is a steal because I put so many modules, so much content in here that you will literally land your dream role, which is priceless, right? Number one. Number two, you're going to get hired faster. So instead of sitting around for 3 months, 6 months, you can be leaving up to 50,000 or 60,000 on the table if you don't get hired within those 3 to 6 months, right? I actually worked with a client. Her name was Brittany. She didn't apply right away, right? Because she waited to graduate. She waited to take her NCLEX. And then when she was ready to apply for a mother-baby position, she was not even getting interviews, right? And it was about 6 months or so. And she was ready to just settle for anything. And then we met. We worked together literally for 1 month, and she was able to secure a position. After just one interview, she got a same day offer in mother baby. And like I said, she put in over 200 applications before. And she also got day shift in mother baby. And she was from California, because I know a lot of nursing students, a lot of nurses are watching and they're like, well, I'm from the Bay Area or I'm from New York City and it's competitive. And I'm like, no. No. Most of my clients are from New York City and from California, but it's all about positioning yourself for success and being prepared. And this is what I do one-on-one with my clients. And I've taken all those strategies, all of the content frameworks, and I packaged it into a course. And it's only $497, but it's for a limited time. And then it's going to go to its regular price of $1297. And still, $1297 is still a steal because you're literally getting everything in this one course that will help you land at least 100K or up to 175K salary, right? So that investment is nothing. You will literally make that back in like a day or less, right? And you'll get hired faster, right? And with confidence. And you're not just going to settle for any old job. You're going to get your dream role. That's why I've called this course New Nurse to Dream Role. Okay. So like I talked about, the first module really focuses on the clarity piece. Okay. And I'm going to go live. I'm going to try to go live a couple times this week, hopefully every day this week. So you could catch me either at 12 noon, between 12 noon and 3. I'm going to try to schedule them out. So I'm going to be talking about the course throughout this week, any questions that you guys may have or comments. But like I said, if you want to secure your price at $497, which is a steal, and get a free session with me one-on-one, The first 10 people who DM me right now will get that free session, and you'll get the course at that early bird special at $497 before it gets to $1297. Okay. And the course is going to be available next week to the public. But if you want early access, like I said, DM me now. So what else is in the course? So obviously we talked about clarity. Then another part of it is heavy focused on personal branding and positioning, particularly on LinkedIn. So I'm going to go through that a little bit more in my other lives. I have videos in there of how to set up your LinkedIn, how to optimize it, DM strategies, how to talk to hiring managers in the DMs, recruiters, all that stuff. I also have some extra resources that you can watch, down to like what to wear in your interview, what not to wear. What else do I have in the course? I also have another module where we talk about just the interview phase, which is one of my favorite parts, right? We go through questions. I also even have a bonus video where I talk about the clinical aspect of the interview, right? So they may give you a scenario or a case study, and they're going to ask you specific questions related to that because they want to see, are you able to critically think? Can you prioritize? And how are you going to handle emergency situations, specifically in the area that you're going to be working in, right? And I also cover things like when to call a rapid response, when to call a code, and how to even handle those type of situations, right? And I even break it down to the most common specialties, whether you're in L&D, pediatrics, da 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 da. I have all that in the course. Okay, so I'm coming on almost 30 minutes now, so I'm gonna end this live very soon. But if you happen to be watching, don't be shy. Like I said, if you have any comments or questions, put them in the chat. And please put down free training if you're interested in this free training that I have to offer, or you can DM me free training. And if you want early access to the course, put early access in the comments or DM me, but make sure that we're connected on LinkedIn if you're on LinkedIn. And if you're on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, honestly, the best way to reach me is to email me. So it's Farah Laurent, @gmail.com. So let me just put it up for you so you have my email. And you can literally just email me early access and you'll get that. And like I said, the first 10 people will get a free training. Free consultation with me, which is a usually paid consultation. All right. So Farah Laurent 1 @gmail. If you are interested in early access for this course at only $497, and the first 10 people will get a one-on-one consultation call with me where we can focus on anything that you want, whether it's resume, interview skills, Okay, sorry. So my computer died and something happened with the connection and I couldn't get back on. And then I looked on my phone, I was still live. So, anyway, sorry about that for that technical difficulty. But like I said, just closing this out, email me and I will get you early access to the course, New Nurse to Dream Role. And I will go live throughout this week to talk to you more about this course specifically for new nurses. But again, it's applicable to any early stage nurse or if you just want to pivot in your career. The other thing is, this is for all the nurse entrepreneurs out there. Maybe if you're a coach or a consultant, or maybe you want to start a business, I have one more spot in my business mastermind called Elevate, and it's going to be in Clearwater Beach at the end of this month, July 31st. And it's going to be a couple days, so July 31st to August 3rd. It's a 3-night stay at a luxury beachfront hotel. And then I have a conference room where we'll be discussing all things business, how to promote yourself, how to position yourself as an expert in the industry, how to create content, specifically video content, how to go live, how to create a newsletter, how to attract clients and opportunities, such as getting paid speaking opportunities, all of that stuff, how to position your offer so that you can get paid clients. Because I know a lot of nurses are out there as consultants and coaches, and they're not currently getting any opportunities and no paid clients. So if that sounds like you and you are interested, I only have one spot left. So like I said, direct message me or email me if you're interested. And it's basically like an all-inclusive package. You'll get a 3-night stay. You'll get breakfast, lunch for the conference, retreat style mastermind. And you'll also get to hang out with some other nurse entrepreneurs so that it's a networking thing. And then we also have a networking dinner that's going to be on a rooftop, beachfront. Literally, the beach is right there, and it's in Clearwater Beach. For those of you that have never been to Clearwater Beach, Florida, it's like one of the most visited beaches in the US. Literally looks like you're in the Caribbean, okay? So if you're interested to find out more or claim that last spot, DM me right now. And then I also have an upcoming business course called Nurses Making Business Moves. That will be available October 1st, but you could purchase the course now and enroll now. So I'll share that link too. And it's going to be in conjunction with this university that I've partnered with, the University of West Georgia. So super excited about that. And like I said, it's an 8-week course for aspiring nurse entrepreneurs or nurse entrepreneurs who want to grow their personal brand, learn more about business, and learn how to attract more paid opportunities and how to get more clients, how to attract more clients. And of course, y'all know that I had my Nurses Making Money Moves conference back in March, and it's going to happen again next year under a new name, Nurses Making Business Moves. Tickets are available. I've already started promoting that as well. So just message me if you're interested to do that. And that's going to be in Tampa, Florida at the University of Tampa, March 6th and 7th, which is a Friday and Saturday weekend. So definitely save the date. People have already gotten their tickets. An early bird right now is $697, and those are for the 2 nights, which, it's like a soiree where we're going to have music and food and networking. And then the next day is the full day conference. So more to come on those things. So I know I shared a lot. So whatever it is that you want, just DM me or email me. Let's get it. All right. I hope this was helpful. Sorry about the interruption.